9, let's get stuck in. Lots to do. Alright, so excuse the rushing noise you can hear. It was -1 in here overnight and it's only 5-6 degrees now, so I'm just trying to warm it up a little bit, if anything. Right, today I've just got to carry on and make these two side pieces into one, so that it becomes one shell or one frame that then fits across. And while they're still bolted in place, they act as a jig. The frame, the subframe underneath, acts as a jig, and that holds it all straight, so as you weld it, it's straight in its own right, and it will lift clean on and off later on, and the bolt holes will all line up. If I take this off and try and weld it on the bench, you know what will happen. Nothing will line up. I'm going to mirror these today, that's the point. These two lines here that we've got, I want to replicate them all the way across. So I've got a frame coming down, and that will give me a flat platform. But they've got to be slightly higher in the middle than they are at the sides, because I want a little bit of an ellipse to it. So I don't want to be straight, because that's just a bit dull in there. And I'm going to start by putting 2 M8 rivnuts. These big old massive points here, these strength points, which were originally for the seat base. That's where the seat base used to sit down. There were 2 rubbers on there, and the seat itself, the original seat, used to rest on that. So they'll be used to put rivnuts in. So I've got a top connection and then, 12 sides. So that's really going to be strong. And from the front, I've got some other rivnut holes, but I don't need to use them because honestly, 14 bolts holding it down, I think that'll be enough by now. But I do need to come across this front. I do need to use the tank itself as a guide. Going to bring the wire up to come and mirror these natural lines in the tank, these kind of body lines. I want to bring the wire up to those, or just below them. So I've got a nice equidistant panel gap all the way down. So when this fits on, it looks like it fits in and is designed to fit in with the tank. The secret, I think, well, secret, I don't know, the trick with customizing anything is to make it look factory. And I don't know, is that selling out? Make it look factory? We don't want a bike to look factory, that's why we're modifying it. But what we're trying to achieve is something that has a factory standard of finish. And I guess we have to admit, factory finish is always good, isn't it? It always looks neat and tidy and professional. And if you can achieve that in your custom work, then you will have a nice job when it's done and people will admire it. And let's face it, that is always good. Right, let's shut waffling and get on with it. Let's get a welder out. The first job is going to put M8 rivnuts in instead of M6. So I've got to change the mandrel in the end of the tool for a bigger one. Right, it seems you're all pretty fired up about the old rivnuts, probably because it gives you a solution. Loads of us don't have a welder, plenty of people or don't want to get involved in welding or just don't have the facilities. So rivnuts are a great solution. You can bolt things to your bike where there are no fasteners without to make daft extended brackets. Now these, as I said, these 2 points here are the strongest points of the tail as far as downward force is concerned. They used to hold the seat, and they are a 10mm hole. Rivet nuts need about a 2mm bigger hole than the thread, so that's an M8, so it needs a 10mm hole, and that just goes in there nicely. Let's get the first one in. Okay, remember what I said, screw the rivet nut first so that the tool protrudes out of the top just by a little bit, and then screw it back so it's level, and that shows you've got all of the thread is thread to thread. You've got a full nut effectively. Okay, in we go. Come on, that's it. And then squeeze it in. Pull that out a little bit. I haven't tested these to a given size because that means wasting an M8 rivnut. I've only got a dozen. You can feel it. That's squeezing up quite nicely. And the jaws of the tool kind of clonk, they lock. But when you push together and then they won't lock, that's hard enough. Don't keep swinging on it after that. That's almost there. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of pressure on these. They're downward rather than pulling that way. that's it, that won't go in anymore. So for the other one, I can just lock that there. That's it, right. So that sets the mandrel to the relevant size. That's it. Okay. And then screw it out.
all these fasteners will be replaced eventually with button head socket caps or domed Allen bolts, screws, whatever. They're just bolts for now because they're easy to use. I've got loads of them. Right, there we are. Alright, so the purpose of this is as a brace really. Proper beef now. That's obviously bracing at the moment just across the frame, but now I've made it long enough I can weld it to these wires here and weld that in, and then I'm going to bring a succession of these wires all the way across to come down and form the base, and they'll all get welded to that, which was the purpose of turning that through 45 degrees, just about, and then making it strong again. It forms the best and strongest load bearing solution for the seat. Remember, because I'm going to be sitting on that, and the seat base itself will be a shell, and then the actual seat will bolt to that with some external, perhaps sort of decorative brass bolts or something. You'll see nearer the time what I've got in mind for that, but really the secondary seat, there'll be a cutout in this, and then the seat will fix to that. But for now, that is all I need. That is strong enough, and I can weld all these to that. That's what was the purpose of spending 3 hours making that bit of metal. Amazing, just each time. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Right, let's get some wire, bend it up. Bugger. Now you just saw that. You see that weld just run out of gas. Pain in the arse. It's going to stop play today, I'm afraid. Bugger. Just looking forward to getting into that. One tack. Damn, baby. Right, let's do some clearing up. Right, here we are. Like I said, I think that truly is the final prod that I need to get a proper bottle for the welding. As you probably know, welding bottles come in all sizes, right up to 6 foot tall. I've got a 3 foot bottle of argon, which I bought for the TIG welder, and I'm not going to be TIG welding to any degree for a while. I've got a very kind friend who lives locally who's going to teach me TIG welding later when I've got past this. I will be doing that, and I'll probably make some videos. Very kind local guy that I know, so there will be TIG welding in the future, but I'm just not proficient enough at it to risk it on this bike, because this bike is everything. I want this bike to be right. And MIG welding, I can make anything stick and stay there, even though it's a bit ugly. Now, what you do is you use these disposables, these things here. They're sort of 85% argon, 15% CO2, and that's the MIG mix. That's what you use for mild steel. It's a specific mix for mild steel. It really works, and it makes it a lot easier. You can't use 100% argon. I have got a full bottle, nearly, of 100% argon, big 3 foot one. So what I'm going to do is get back to Wellington Weld Supplies. I've got to get some gas there, so I'll get some wire as well, because as you probably saw, I'm using stainless steel wire. I said that in the last video because it's all I've got left. So I need a roll of mild steel 0.8 wire, and I need a proper bottle of proper MIG gas. So I'll do all that and get it sorted, because that's now stopped the game here. I'm really annoyed with that. Kind of disappointed, you know what it's like. I was right on a roll then. But I've got some I've got some progress there. I'll show you what I've done and where it's going. You'll see a little bit, you'll see exactly what it means. Hang on. Right, so this is how far I've got. Annoying really. One tack on there, which will have to be ground off and done again, because there was no gas or no shielding gas on that. And then I'm just going to do the others. Now you can see what I'm doing. I've got an ellipse going on in that, got a curve in it, and a slightly lesser curve in that one, and just a faint little bit of curve in that. When I get to this one, it'll go across, it'll actually curve the other way. So I'm going to try and curve. I'm going from concave to convex, and then increasing as it goes to the front, and there'll be one across the front here that will be quite high. So I'm going to bring the whole thing like a sculptured curve, and doing it with just varied amounts of it. So I'll put one in between, or perhaps 2 in there, maybe 2 in there, 2 in there. So it'll have a nice ladder of those when I get some more gas, and then I can put the wire underneath. I've got about 60 pieces of that wire left, loads and loads of options, and I can always get more. And that will then form a decent trellis underneath, and I can laminate over the whole thing. And once there's about a dozen pieces of wire going up under there, I can weld them all to the back of this, and then put some strength that will go right to the back of the tail, rolling right through. So I'll take a longish piece of metal, probably something like 1/2 inch by 3 mil, something like beefy. I can get that, and then I'll run it right the way through the trellis, from the front, right the way through, right the way to the back, tacked all along, so the whole thing has rigidity, torsional and floppy bendy and everything, so that'll be all right.
If you're ever going to weld yourself, if you're going to ever try and weld and you run out of gas, don't be tempted to keep going. It is a big temptation. Oh, I'll just do a couple more, I'll be all right. The problem is, I won't give you a science lesson because it's really boring, but if you're going to weld anything, if you're going to start welding, when that puddle of molten metal arcs up, it will start to consume, if there's no shielding gas, it will start to consume oxygen from around the atmosphere around it, and that oxygen will go into the weld, and what will happen is that metal, it will become fizzy, like a soft drink, like a soda pop, you know, and it'll have air bubbles in the metal, so extremely weak. So if you weld without a shielding gas, or some form of shielding, you can have flux cores and loads of different ways to do it, and that prevents the oxygen getting to it. But if you don't do that, then the welds that you make are shit and they will fall to pieces, and then you'll be even more disappointed when you have to do it all again, or when something fractures or breaks in the future. And if it's structural, then you're just asking for trouble, aren't you? Don't even go there. It is tempting. It seriously really is, because I stick my hand up, I've been that person. I've been tempted to just keep going and that's all right, it's nearly there. No, it's not, because down the line that weld will break. The shielding gas, quite simply, it's an oxygen-free gas. That's a mixture of argon and CO2. You can have pure CO2, you can have pure argon if you're TIG welding. There's loads of different ways to do it, and that simply blows the oxygen away. It puts a shield around that bubble, that puddle of metal, of oxygen-free gas, other gas that's got no oxygen in it. There's only about 16% oxygen in the atmosphere we breathe. All the rest is probably pollution, and we just breathe it in and out. We don't even need 100% oxygen to live. We're quite resilient as humans, but as far as welding is concerned, any oxygen is all bad, so you must, you know, think twice if you run out of gas. So here ended the lesson. I'll shut up now. There we are. I'm disappointed. You can hear this is what it's about. I wanted to carry on, do a good 5 or 6 hour one today, but unfortunately that is it. That's always the way it goes. So I will be able to get indoors, get on the computer and get this uploaded ASAP. Right, there we are. Again, sorry folks, 4 hours, 4 hours today. Wanted to do 6.5, 7. I can see it, you know, the progress is there right in front of me, but that's just the way it goes. That's projects for you. It's forward planning, thinking, having your spares and your materials on the shelf is what it's all about. But I'm going to call it a day, because at least I can make use of this by getting it online by this afternoon. This was due to be online about probably midnight on Saturday, whenever you're watching this now, but hopefully it will now be online about 5 o'clock tea time, which is good. There you go. That's always a little bonus. Clouds and silver linings. So I'll leave you with all the friends. Thank you for everything else. I just want to say as well, to anybody else who's watching the channel, has joined recently, I only just started watching the videos. If you're interested in supporting what we do in any way, I want to say humbly, we do have a Patreon system, a Patreon account. You can become a patron of the channel if you want to. There's a link under the title of this video. You can click on that and you can support the channel from $1 a month upwards to whatever you choose. You can put $1 per video and then set a maximum so it stops after so many. We do about 10, 11 videos a month with the free prize draws and everything else. So if you put $1 on a video, you might pay $10 a month. If you want to pay less than that, then you set the limit, and then you could dip out at any time and just delete it when you don't want to. We have a constant ebb and flow of patrons coming and going. We're about 350 now, and they make, those patrons, you know who you are, you make this possible. You fund this, you fund this, and that's what it's all about. It is constant. We probably spend, on this board, I put the costs of materials, things that I buy specifically for the bike. But I don't put things like gas and wire and MIG wire and all that stuff. That's just, what is that called? That's just like domestic bills, and it just rolls on and on and on. And it could be as much as £200 a month sometimes. That's a lot of money, and that'd be, you could buy a nice bike and finance for that. So, you know, running a project, building a bike, it's an expensive business. So if you're interested in helping us out with this, make the videos a little bit better, I mean, we can keep going, get to a conclusion on this thing, roll it out in the daylight, and then get a Harley or something on the bench after. Because I promise you folks, the next bike on the bench project after this one, I want it to be a Harley. It will certainly be a very different bike. It won't be a Kawasaki sports bike. It won't even be anything else. I'm going to change genre completely and go over to a cruiser and do something utterly radical and stupid with probably a dyno or something. But I've got to get this finished first. I can't just make these dreams and think about it in the future. I've got to do it. You've got to get stuck in and work hard. That's what it's all about. Right, I'm going to put that on the board, leave you with all the friends. Take it easy, ride safe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.